The reality of filmmaking and acting is that only a small percentage of people are constantly in paid work. As for those that aren't, like me, it can be really disheartening. So how do I stay motivated? It's important to say that what I'm going to talk about are the things that I do and don't do to stay motivated. But each of us is different, so what motivates and doesn't motivate us will be different. The other thing I think is important to say that when I'm working on a film, be it as a director or an actor, motivation isn't a problem. I mean, that might seem obvious, but sometimes when you work with people, you can see that they're not motivated like you are. So it's not necessarily a given, but for me it is. I love being on a film set. I love working with other people. And it's one of the few environments that I, as an introvert, feel comfortable surrounded by people. I'm going to start with two things that I don't do. Well, I try not to do. The first one is social media. There's lots of great stuff for a filmmaker and an actor on social media, particularly on platforms like YouTube, where you can watch videos about filmmaking techniques or analysis of old films and analysis of acting and acting performances. Things like that are fantastic. Very helpful, very educational, but there is a hell of a lot of negative stuff on social media. I've in the past been in Facebook groups, and I don't use X. I mean, I gave up when it was still Twitter, because in those environments I found a lot of negativity, and a lot of people were spending a lot of time just, mouthing each other off, just saying terrible things about each other, just moaning and complaining. And that is a terrible thing for motivation. You don't want to be around all that. And if you ever find yourself in those environments online, just step away, get out. Sometimes it's better to not leave a comment, no matter how strongly you feel, because it just sends you down a rabbit hole of negativity, and you don't need it. Just use it for positive things. Stuff about things you're working on. Even if it's things about how you're struggling at the moment without any work. That's kind of a positive thing, because you're putting it out there looking for help to stay motivated. But unfortunately, most of the stuff online is negative. Most of it's gossip, and most gossip is negative. So I would try and avoid it as much as possible. Stick to the educational stuff on platforms like YouTube. And that doesn't mean you avoid the entertaining things. Of course, I watch all sorts of things, particularly on YouTube, because it's entertaining. Old films are often on YouTube. Educational stuff is often on YouTube. But be selective, I guess is what I'm trying to say in a roundabout way. And teach yourself to be aware of things that you should disengage from. The second big thing for me is I don't drink. I gave up a long time ago. I don't smoke. Gave up a long time ago. So food tends to be my go-to vice. And I've always had a sweet tooth. And I'm doing really well trying to keep things, on the straight and narrow, health-wise, for other health reasons. But whenever I feel a little down or tense or anything, I go for pastries in particular, but cake, biscuits or cookies, things of that nature. But I I don't know when to stop, which is one of the reasons why I gave up drinking and smoking. If I'm going to eat biscuits, I'll eat a packet of biscuits. You know, I'll buy things thinking, oh, this is a family-sized packet or something, and I'll just plow through them. And this is something that happens when I'm feeling a bit down, or my motivation's off, or, you know, things just aren't working out how I want or as quickly as I want. So that is a problem for me, because I don't just have one or two, I have a lot. So those sort of negative social media, and I really limit what I do on social media these days to people I know, or educational things or informative things, and well away from politics and all that. There's so much crap when it comes to politics that you're never going to know the truth by, you know, just following people on social media. And my sweet tooth. These are the things that affect my motivation, because, you know, the sugar highs and lows just exponentiate whatever feelings I was having at the time in a negative way. So what do I do to stay motivated? One of the things I do is live a very simple life, because an easy way to lose motivation is having enormous financial strain. And you do have financial strain pretty much constantly as a filmmaker or an actor, unless you're in that top bracket. But if you learn to live simply, you've got a better chance of surviving and a better chance of staying motivated, because you're alleviating some of that pressure. That doesn't mean you don't have to get survival jobs from time to time. I have in the past. I may well do in the future. But it really, really helps me stay motivated by living a simple life. The other things, like I mentioned earlier, things like watching movies on YouTube, watching educational things on YouTube about filmmaking, about acting. I love listening to history podcasts. I find them really fascinating. I don't know if that's something that comes with age, but I find myself kind of addicted to them. And they give me a lift. You know, listening to music gives me a lift. What else? I made a couple of notes because my memory... bookshops, galleries. I love going to bookshops and just wandering around, and, you know, it's trying not to buy lots of books is very difficult, and Blu-rays. But there's a pleasure just walking around bookshops, especially older bookshops. I don't know, it's like you're entering in another world, like you're entering in a novel story just by entering in the bookshop. So that's a good feeling. I like art galleries and all sorts of galleries, but I don't like going there when there's lots of people. So it kind of limits how often I go there. So if I do go, I tend to go as soon as the doors open or something like that. So, or on weekdays, or, you know, and there's not going to be many people around. What else do I make notes about here? Simple life. Yeah, reading, walking. With reading, I tend to do it in bursts. I'll read frantically for a few months and then read nothing for a few months. But it is letting your mind go to another place really helps me with motivation. And anything which has a creative element to it helps me with motivation. They're the main things I do, because living a simple life, it's not like you can go on endless holidays or things like that, or buy, you know, stuff which you think keeps you happy. So living simply, just focusing on the things that I love to do, is what keeps me going. Thanks for watching. It'd be great if you could subscribe, like, and leave a comment. I'd love to know what you think. I hope to see you in the next one.